I believe in God. I am Christian.
I'm a Protestant. I'm very proud of it. Presbyterian, to be exact.
With Trump returning to the contest and attempting to campaign for a second term, the competition for the White House seat is heating up more than before. He has consistently stressed his trust in God ever since he began running for government, in addition to prioritizing the prosperity of America in his campaign.
In America, we don't worship government, we worship God.
Americans were deeply moved by Trump's previous campaign to make America great again, and they enthusiastically supported it.
We will make America strong again. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. And we will make America great again. God bless you and good night. I love you.
Trump's prospects of winning the next election will likely be increased if he can mount an effective campaign that speaks to Christians, who are the majority of Americans who are putting their faith in him. In addition to his sincere religious beliefs, Trump recently delivered a warning to the United States, which caused widespread alarm. What precise message is Trump attempting to convey? Join us as we delve into the warning Donald Trump issues to everyone. One may argue that despite having the shortest history of forming any nation, the United States of America has emerged as the world's most powerful nation regarding the military, economy, and, most notably, science and technology. Why does this young nation perform such amazing feats? The answer is faith. According to American history, up to 95% of people, from the lower classes to the elite, strongly believe in God. This is a phenomenon that has never been seen in any other nation. The Bible is also regarded as the basis for the U.S. Constitution, since the first lawmakers used it as the standard to create laws and find solutions to societal issues based on the divine spirit reflected in it. As a result of that, America currently leads the globe in development. Trump famously remarked that as long as God exists, we will never be alone. Whether you're a single mom working or a soldier on night duty, God will always provide the solace, support, and encouragement we need to keep going. President Donald Trump stated during the 2018 National Day of Prayer that Americans of faith have constructed the hospitals, homes, and charities that care for the ill, the aged, and the orphans, and they minister to the impoverished so wonderfully and with such love. He said, "As president, I will always defend religious liberty. We are proud of our religious heritage." Particularly because of his strong religious beliefs, Trump does not endorse people who reject God. Trump asserts that people with incorrect ideas can never receive enlightenment or instruction from God since, according to his worldview, God is the reason he is who he is today. He previously served as U.S. president and is now running for office. He hopes to win the support of Christians in this endeavor. In addition, he promised to establish rules that would safeguard both his faith and theirs. Many spiritual people predict that Mr. Trump will emerge victorious in the 2017 presidential contest. One of them is an Italian who stated that before Mr. Trump's election, he had a prophecy from the 1980s that a man by the name of Trump would return America to religion. Many media publications headlined, "Maybe God did choose Trump to be president," before Trump's stunning victory. Now that the 2024 election is underway, many Christians put their faith in Trump's triumph and return. Trump also feels that God has supported him throughout this election and will continue to do so. Trump also forewarned Christians about violence, saying that we must win over people for our cause, but not by using violence. Trump is attempting to maintain the support of his evangelical base, which has been a pillar of support for him. Hopefully, you have to go out and get individuals to help us. According to Trump, there will be an issue because everything you've earned will end at that point if you don't. According to Trump, Evangelical leaders might contribute to the solution by encouraging their members and congregations to cast ballots. Christians have always been the target of attacks, so they needed someone wealthy and strong enough to defend them, and Trump announced with confidence that he was that person. On the eve of the Iowa caucuses, Donald Trump posted a spooky video in which he seems to declare that he is God's chosen representative on earth, come to restore prosperity to America. The former president is seen in the widely shared film as the messenger of a higher authority dispatched to save the country, speaking in sharply religious and messianic tones. The 3-minute commercial begins with a shaky video of an old-looking record player playing a sermon that appears to be preached by a preacher, placed against a picture of the Republican tycoon. A montage of moments from his presidency, featuring a holy infant, is followed by a wild card scripture and narration. The script states that God is looking for someone prepared to rise before dawn, to fix the country's problems, fight the Marxists, eat dinner, go to the Oval Office, and stay past midnight at a meeting of heads of state. I need someone with arms strong enough to fight the deep state and gentle enough to deliver his grandchild, declares God. According to the voiceover, somebody to ruffle the feathers, tame the cantankerous World Economic Forum, come home hungry, wait until the First Lady is done with lunch with friends, then tell the ladies to be sure and come back real soon, and mean it. So God gave us Trump. In the bizarre video's epilogue, God anoints Mr. Trump as the shepherd to lead his flock and promises that, should he win the Republican nomination and defeat Joe Biden in November's election, his man will drill for fossil fuels, create more jobs in America, secure the southern border, build the U.S. military, and battle the system all day long, all the while finding time to attend church on Sundays. According to Daniel 2:21, which states that God varies the times and seasons in which he removes and creates rulers, Trump boldly acknowledged his significance to America. Romans 13:1 states that God established the existing powers. Suppose one interprets these verses to suggest that God put Trump in office or desired his presence there. In that case, it also suggests that God has a similar plan for all other world leaders, including those whose ideologies or policies differ from those of evangelicals. Trump joked that only Jesus Christ could win the speakership by garnering enough votes from House Republicans. In a New Hampshire press conference, Trump emphasized the challenge of the 4-vote threshold, as many House Republicans can afford to lose in a floor vote and still take the Speaker's chair. That 4-point threshold is really difficult. No matter who you ask, it's a very difficult task. According to Trump, only Jesus Christ can complete it. I haven't seen anyone who can promise that, but if Jesus came down and said, "I want to be a speaker," he would do it. Maybe what Trump is trying to say is that the only person who has the potential to be the Speaker of the House is Jesus. And if he wants to hold this office, he needs God's approval and direction. Trump has never held back when discussing his devotion to God. He has always made his faith known in public and expressed the hope that his position of authority will uphold it. Believing in God. Firstly, we believe in God because we feel deep down that everything has an unchangeable moral structure, that life, love, and meaning are ethically shaped, and that everything is subject to an unchangeable rule of karma. Different religions express this idea differently, but it is fundamental to all of them and is the basis of morality. What you measure out will be measured back to you. Good behavior is happiness, just as evil behavior is misery. The way Jesus explained it, the air you breathe out is the same air you will take in again. In other words, we will soon be breathing in carbon monoxide if we cut down too many trees. We shall encounter love if we breathe forth love. Hatred and wrath are contagious. If we breathe them out, we will soon be surrounded by them. Because of how reality is set up, goodness breeds goodness, and sin breeds sin. Trump stated that, although he is prepared to accept responsibility for all he does not wish to ask God for forgiveness. This does not imply that he rejects God. All he could hope was that God wasn't the cause of his error. There will always be those who wish for God's pardon, but there will also be those, like Trump, who are prepared to accept full responsibility for their deeds. You will suffer consequences if you commit an offense. There's no getting around it. Of course, Trump and the rest of us still want God to show us the correct route. The next reason to believe in God is the existence of soul intelligence, love, altruism, and art. If a powerful person makes a terrible decision, it will be terrible for the world. Blind chaos could not have designed things to be innately moral. Only intelligent goodness could have built reality this way. Without the guidance of an intelligent, loving entity, these could not have formed from pure chaos resulting from billions upon billions of cosmic bingo chips appearing out of nothing and churning endlessly over billions of years. It was impossible for random chaos, devoid of all wisdom and love from the beginning, to finally give rise to the soul and everything highest within it: intellect, kindness, love, spirituality, and artistic ability. Is it possible that our hearts and everything pure and valuable within them are only the product of billions of random events coming together in a mindless, rough process? For someone like Trump to make wise decisions in these direst circumstances, they must constantly be aware of their soul and intelligence. He desired to be surrounded by God, and we should too. God should be the one to lead all of your decisions, no matter how big or small. He is the only person who truly loves you and will never hurt you. We believe in God because the gospel is effective when people apply what Jesus, who became flesh and taught us, ultimately resonates with what is most valuable, honorable, and significant in life and each of us individually. Furthermore, this always turns out to be true in real life, whenever bravery and faith truly live out the gospel to test the integrity of its message. Although David beats Goliath, and the loaves multiply to feed hundreds, this will only happen once individuals take a chance. The objection that many real believers risk their lives and the truth for the gospel, and that, despite appearances in this world, it doesn't work for them, might be made here. The gospel only works if people work with it. They become needy as losers. But once more, that's a judgment people make based on the prosperity gospel, which says that the one with the greatest material success triumphs. The gospel of Jesus undermines this. A well-lived life brings a deeper delight that is more permanent and less fleeting than any other joy, something that Jesus tells those who follow the righteous path to the fullest and will bless those who can do so. This blessing goes beyond material prosperity. Have faith in God because the gospel and prayer let people express their gratitude. According to Trump, he treasures each Bible that he has received. He claimed that Trump has become more detailed because so many people send him Bibles. We maintain all of the Bibles he mentioned, since there is no way in which I would say anything bad about one. The community of faith that dates back to the beginning of time, to the life and resurrection of Jesus, which baptized people into the faith, is why people believe in God. Almost all human societies throughout history have also been faith communities, believing in a sacred God, sacred rituals, and holy sacraments. The existence of religious households and church sacraments is evidence that people believe in God. In a written interview, President Trump stated that he did not identify as a Presbyterian. "I am the first president to change faith while in office." He was confirmed in the church and has been identified as a Presbyterian multiple times, but he no longer is. According to Trump's statement, he now considers himself to be a non-denominational Christian. During the unprecedented COVID-19 pandemic, Melania and I had the opportunity to visit several magnificent churches and speak with outstanding faith leaders from across the world. We also participated in several virtual church services, and we know that millions of Americans did the same, he continued. The Impartial Public Religion Research Institute survey indicates that most Americans do not believe that President Trump has deep religious convictions. Over 40% believe the president primarily uses religion for political gain. In contrast, 59% of white evangelical Republicans believe that Trump holds deep religious convictions. Trump's choice to break away from mainstream religion is also a reflection of a broader societal movement. In the U.S., It's also typical for people to change their religious affiliation. This phenomenon, which social scientists call switching, encompasses more subtle and dramatic transformations, such as a person experiencing a born-again moment. Religious switching seems to happen more often when there are a lot of choices, like there are in the United States, and it seems to happen more when people take religion very seriously and think it's an important and distinctive part of their identity, like they do in the US. Even so, Trump still firmly believes that he is the president who has instilled a belief of God in many Americans. He said that with the public defense he gave to Christians, many boldly stood up and declared their beliefs. They have come into the light under Trump's protection. Of course, there are still many rumors about Trump's real purpose for doing these things, but no matter what, the race to the White House is still going on. Donald Trump addresses the end of the world. Former President Donald Trump recently discussed Jesus Christ and the end of the world in a speech to Christians. During his speech, he pondered the angel's declaration of Christ's birth in David's city 2 millennia ago. Without equivocation, Trump declared that while dire situations call for a hero, he does not see himself as one. Instead, he humbled himself to acknowledge the existence of people beyond himself. In addition, he made hints about approaching things, or even the rapture's possible happening. Trump also underlined how important the church is and how Jesus' life, death, and resurrection fundamentally changed the course of human history. He stressed that Jesus' teachings and example make it easy to imagine the nation's history. In addition, Trump spoke about his faith, affirming that he believes in God and that he is a Protestant, more specifically, a Presbyterian.
I believe in God. I am Christian.
I'm a Protestant. I'm very proud of it. Presbyterian to be exact. I'm Presbyterian.
He said that he takes pride in his faith, characterizing it as a kind of middle-of-the-road Christianity that everyone must follow just as he does. In his advice to Christians, he cited scriptures such as Proverbs, which forbids giving in to envy, and 2 Corinthians 3:17, which he believes is especially important. According to Trump, there is nothing more important than God, whom he regards as the ultimate creator of everything. He also stated that Jesus Christ is the ultimate source of strength and hope for all time, both here and everywhere, and he conveyed this so that every Christian remembers and follows it.
In America, we don't worship government, we worship God.
According to Trump, Jesus is a person Christians may think about when they need security and assurance, someone they can admire for his bravery and heroism, and because we place such a high value on the Christian religion, someone they can trust. One fascinating concept within Christianity is the notion of the rapture. Although the term rapture itself may not be explicitly used in the Bible for Christians, it does mention that all believers, regardless of whether they're alive or deceased, will ascend to heaven to meet Jesus upon his return. In a letter penned by the Apostle Paul, he discusses Jesus' ascent from heaven. As a result of a trumpet sound, those who have already passed away and placed their faith in Jesus will be resurrected. The survivors will also be lifted into the sky to join Jesus. Believers of the rapture also hold that after Jesus returns, he will rule for a millennium. This idea comes from a chapter in the book of Revelation. Some people think this will happen ahead of the tribulation, which is challenging. Some predict it will happen after the rapture has lost its appeal. Some said that prophecies about the world's end would pass in the 16th century, specifically in the 1700s and 1800s. Religious movements of great importance included the Great Awakening and the Second Great Awakening. During the Cold Era, when people were truly afraid of nuclear war, they disseminated theories about the millennium, the 1,000 years, and the return of Christ. As a result, the idea of the rapture gained traction. It also permeated popular culture through the legacy of books, movies, and items like chick pamphlets. Many have tried to predict the exact day of the rapture throughout history, but most of these predictions have turned out to be incorrect. This illustrates the depth and complexity of the world's end. What happens during the rapture, as Jesus predicted, and how will he spend eternity with his people? Among these signs is the coming of the false Messiah. When Jesus' followers asked him about his coming return, they were not discussing the end of the world. They asked when Jesus would take on the role of ruler and establish his kingdom. Jesus responds in Matthew 24. He cautions them to be looking for impostors who seem to be passing for the Messiah and fooling many people. According to Matthew 24.4, the prophets, Christ, and this impostor would utilize Satan's authority to accomplish amazing things. It reminds us that although miracles might happen, our faith shouldn't be predicated only on them. Another warning story in John 4:1 and 3 counsels Christians to test and look into the origins of spirits. When things get rough spiritually, the Apostle Paul stressed the importance of exercising wisdom and discernment and forewarned that there will be a lot of false doctrines before the end of the world, because so many negative things are happening and so many people ignore the truth. These are hazardous times. With the recent arrival of Yanuka Rav Yehuda in Israel, this warning came to pass. He did some amazing things that left people in amazement, and although he seemed to be the Messiah, he might not be. Yanuka was well versed in the Torah, Talmud, and other Jewish scriptures because she was nurtured in a Jewish home. Even at 15, he was surprisingly skilled at these things. Interestingly, even though some regard him as almost divine, others think he is supernatural because of his extraordinary intellect and capacity for incredible miracles. None of the witnesses to these miracles addressed God, even though they believed in his power and wonders. They fully credit Yanuka. There was a man who was sick and could not walk. He was not godlike. Despite medical interventions, his condition worsened. Nevertheless, when he met Yanuka, something remarkable happened. He could walk again and no longer needed further medical support. A miracle. This piques people's interest and stimulates discussions about who Yanuka is and what he's doing. Revelation 13:13 mentions a false prophet doing extraordinary feats like bringing down fire from the heavens in front of people. These incredible feats will fool people everywhere because they appear so impressive. This false prophet will also instruct followers to visualize a terrifying beast that appears alive for unknown reasons, like Yanuka. The rebuilding of the third temple is another sign. The building of a Jewish temple in Jerusalem, growing anti-Israel sentiment, and the advent of a world government are some indications of this. A lot of people think that this prophecy will come to pass. The emergence of red heifers indicates that, after many years of trials, Israel is finally rebuilding the third temple. The unexpected arrival of 5 rare red heifers from a ranch in Texas in Israel has thrilled those who follow a prophecy about building the third temple in Jerusalem. These youth heifers are significant because they can purify individuals if their ashes hold to Jewish tradition. What needs to be done before rapture? In Mark 13, Jesus twice warned his disciples not to fall for pretenses. Watch out that no one tricks you. According to verses 21 to 22 and 5 to 6, false prophets will emerge and perform miracles to deceive the elect. Paul advised in 2 Thess 2:1 to 3 that now concerning the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ and our gathering to him, do not allow anyone to deceive you in any way. Scripture frequently advises rejecting individuals who claim to be experts on the end times and ignoring those who only use dates to forecast future events. This means that it is primarily the responsibility of Christians to share the good news with those who reject Jesus or remain uninterested in this priceless legacy he left for humanity. People need to share the gospel because these are the times they live in. The obvious conclusion is that Christians cannot afford to do nothing and must act now. It involves more than just sharing the gospel. It involves abiding by the morals and precepts found in the Bible. Therefore, even while they anticipate the rapture, they also recognize that for people to yield fruit on this side of heaven, they must actively participate in the task God has prepared them for. Therefore, many people believe that if Trump stays on the right track and trusts God in the upcoming battle, he will have more hope. But of course, everything will happen. We do not know who he will choose according to God's will. We'll have to wait and see what declarations and acts Trump makes to win over Christians for his campaign. Is Donald Trump going to win the presidency in 2024? As he portrays and reveals, is he the Messiah of the people of America? Please leave a comment below in the comments section. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more interesting updates like this. While you are still here, click on the video on your screen for more mind-blowing videos.